Well, good evening. This is Wednesday night and it's Map Show 111. What do they call that? In cricket, it has a name, and I'm sure Henny will tell me afterwards, but I seem to hear Nelson somewhere along the line. And, we're sitting here on 111. That means that we have been doing the Map Show for 2 years. Can you believe that? And I'm so excited that we are continuing with this every single Wednesday evening. We've now recently added a Thursday evening as well, soon every night of the week. And it won't be too far into the future where Map for Life will be a 24/7 channel, not just in English, but in multiple languages. And if you can see that, if you can dream that with me, it'll be a reality. And we would love to have your comments this evening, your insights. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, please tell us where you're from. And we'd love to hear your questions or your insights as we take on the next part in the Mapped series. Our first session, I talked about the MAP team. And if you remember, there were 4 particular roles that people involved in the MAP team could fulfill. These are roles. In other words, everybody is a mapper. We're all the same, but certain people take more responsibility because they are more passionate about what they engaged in. And the different roles are that of mentor. Those are people who look after and engage with small groups on a weekly basis, and we'll chat a bit about that later on today. And we also have the position of associate, or the role of associate. Those are the mappers who want to engage in training and coaching and empowering other people to discover their purpose. We move on to our partners, and our partners are people who operate in particular territories, and their role is to lead the MAP club in their area. So they would have a team of associates and mentors working together with them to support you and I in our journey to pursue and to fulfill the purpose for which we were created. And finally, there's those successful partners who have demonstrated that they're really passionate about empowering other people on purpose, and they take responsibility for their province, their country, or maybe even a region. And we look forward to welcoming people in those 4 roles. Last week, I spoke about the fact, in fact, it's the message of Map for Life. It really relates to our philosophy, and that is this: we believe that you are mandated for such a time as this, that you have a purpose. Secondly, that you've been anointed. You have the gifts and talents necessary to fulfill that purpose. We also believe that when you are connected with your purpose, the very reason for your existence, you are fully provisioned for that. And in order to access the provision, you need to step in faith. And finally, the reason you are here is that you've been deployed for such a time as this. In other words, you've been set free. And the message was, be aware of stepping under the influence of others, stepping into a place where you are controlled. I think of recent years, there was a simple little message that controlled the whole world. And that message was, stay safe, stay safe. And fear went through us like a hot knife through butter. Well, I want to tell you that you are not to live in fear. You're here to live in faith, and you've been deployed. And we believe that fully in Map for Life. And if you believe that, we invite you to join us so that we can get out there and make life purposeful. Tonight, though, I want to talk to you specifically about the MAP Club. The MAP Club has also, as you know, it is mapped, MAPD, and there's 4 very distinct elements that I'm going to share with you this evening. And the first of those elements is that of mentorship. And so in the MAP Club, we are all about providing group mentorship. In other words, I've recognized that it's not the person who has all the knowledge about a particular subject. Very often in the workspace, the mentor is your boss or his boss or someone higher up. But in life, we can learn from anyone and everyone. There's things that I've learned from my children. I've learned from other people's children. And yet, when I was growing up, the idea of a mentor was someone who had lots of hair like me, or perhaps they had a silver lining, and maybe even better if they had one foot in the grave. That was termed a mentor. We believe that every single one of us have unique experiences, and because of those unique experiences, we can give one another a new perspective of a particular situation. And as a consequence of that, we can mentor one another. Of course, there are books that you can read that can provide mentorship. There are people that you can watch on video or on YouTube these days that can provide mentorship. But when you engage with real people that are not only like-minded, but like-hearted, that kind of mentorship leads to an incredible relationship building exercise. And I love every single mentorship session that I'm involved in. I'm involved in approximately 12 such groups. And every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and beyond, I'm engaged with small groups where we talk about a particular subject and mentorship happens. And so I'd invite you to join the MAP Club and begin to experience mentorship, where you rub shoulders with people who have walked the walk before you, and where you can help them in their walk as well. So it's a two-way thing. The second thing that's really important for your and my growth is the word accountability. And this is not the accountability that you are familiar with. In the workspace, accountability means that you better do what the boss said or else. There's that kind of accountability. There's a stick that's hanging over your head. In other words, there's consequences if you don't meet your targets, but there's also a carrot somewhere to try and draw you to it. You have to have that in place when you are engaged in something that you're not passionate about. But what's interesting is when you connect with your purpose and you have that inner passion, you often find yourself alone, on your own. And you're moving along, and sometimes you can get what Peter Darrell talks about recently is mission drift. You begin to lose focus. You begin to move off track. And by being part of an accountability base, an accountability group, or what we often say in the MAP Cafe is where you meet accountability partners. That's where you can hold yourself accountable to your plan, or as we say, your map. No one else is going to hold you accountable to the map. It's about you holding yourself accountable. So we are introducing from the 1st of July this year, the opportunity for you to have an accountability partner who will actually communicate with you once a month and say, hi, how are things going? Tell me the progress that you're making on your map. We're very excited about it. We'd like to hear that progress. And that will be an opportunity for you to reflect on your progress, but also to sharpen the saw and make sure that you adjust your plan as you go to be more and more effective and specifically more purposeful in your day-to-day action. So accountability is extremely valuable. I don't think we can underestimate or overestimate, rather, the value of having an accountability partner. Just tonight, me being here talking with you, this is an accountability for me. I've made a commitment that every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. I'm going to be here. And so me being here is part of me being accountable to the vision that I've cast. For this to be a 24/7 program requires you to be on the other side holding me accountable to my vision. And I'd love to have you join us here in the panel as Henny will be doing this evening. The third letter is the letter P, and that talks about preparation. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Everybody wants to win. Few people are willing to prepare to win. We're all waiting for an opportunity. Les Brown has this great saying, which I repeat at every single training I do, and this is that it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. If you look at the sports teams that you might be familiar with, soccer might be one group of people watching tonight. Their passion is soccer. Another group of people in South Africa, their passion would be rugby. I don't know what your sport passion is. Maybe you can share what your sport is on the comments channel this evening. But when you look at those sports teams playing on the field for the 45 minutes each half or whatever it might be, that's not the only time they are playing. In fact, they spend more time preparing to play than they actually play. It's so common. I mean, we see it everywhere. Teams practice. I remember when I was engaged in martial arts many, many years ago, and for a long period of my life, when I was engaged there, I was training every day. I was training every single day for a competition that happened once in 6 months or once in a year. Can you imagine training an entire year for that opportunity? But when it comes to our purpose, when it comes to the things we're passionate about, we seem to lack the conviction to prepare. And so the MAP Club is to create an environment where you can every single week participate in such a way that you are honing your skills, that you're sharpening the sword. They say iron sharpens iron. Let's get together. Let's gather together. Let's practice together. Let's prepare together. Because it's such an important part. When you are prepared and the opportunity comes, you're able to grab that opportunity. Not only that, when you are prepared, guess what? Your eyes are open and you see the provision that you never saw before. It's like I'm sitting here this evening in a well-lit room. But if I had to turn the lights off in this room, if I turn the lights off, something interesting, everything just goes black. You can't see anything. And it's like that with preparation. When you're unprepared or not prepared, there seems to be no opportunity. You can't see it. You haven't opened your eyes to be able to see it. So preparation is critical. It enables you to see things that other people do not see. So the MAP Club is going to, I can imagine the people that are part of the MAP Club are going to be walking through and are already walking through life, seeing opportunities that they never saw before. They might even wonder how that happened, but it's all because every week they are part of a small group. They are becoming conscious of their purpose. They're reminded of their passion. Their eyes begin to see deeper and deeper into the things around them, and suddenly, boom, opportunities appear everywhere. So preparation is a key, and we invite you to participate with the MAP Club. And then finally, here's something that is so important, and this comes from your side and my side, of course. That's why I'm here this evening. I'm here this evening because of that word on the screen, diligence. You might not believe this, but there have been occasions where I have felt that, do I really have to get dressed and do a show tonight? It may have been once or twice in the last 2 years, but there have been those times. But diligence, commitment, conviction gets you to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And I think there's a lot of people today that don't worry about the noise in the background. That's somebody who's getting really excited. One of my audience members this evening. My little fox terrier is getting excited. He says, diligence, that's me. You just called me. So when I think about diligence, it's somebody who's always there. They when they've made a commitment, they show up, even when they don't feel like it. A friend of mine told me once that strength of character is the ability to follow through on a decision that you've made, even after the mood in which you made that decision has left you. I heard a disturbing statement recently, and somebody said, the sizzle has gone out. I've lost the sizzle. And that is a sad situation when somebody loses the sizzle. But if you feel like you've lost the sizzle in any way, shape, or form, just dust off your vision. Start looking, maybe take your spectacles off, clean them, and take a look again. Because when you connect with the value that the fulfillment of your vision is going to have in the lives of others, it's going to rekindle your passion. It's going to start the sizzle. I mean, I can already smell the sausages there on the pan. That sizzle. I mean, that's what we need to have. Just this morning, we were talking about the message of passion, and the image that was so clear to me was a conference that I attended back in the early 90s. There were over 4,000 people in this auditorium, and the speaker asked for the lights to be turned off. And when the lights were turned off, the speaker lit a candle and then talked about the idea of how passion, enthusiasm, and things of this nature rub off on other people. And they took their candle and they lit a candle of somebody sitting in the front row in this auditorium. And the instruction was, light the candle of the two people next to you. And they began to do that. I was sitting far back in the auditorium, but it was an amazing sight to see of how initially the light moved slowly, but it became more and more rapid. And I saw an exponential explosion happen right before my eyes. And that's what happens when you connect with your passion. What's interesting is the speaker's candle did not get any brighter. If they looked at their candle, they would have said, well, what have I really done? It's still the same. It's still 1 watt. It hasn't got any bigger. But in reality, when they took their eye off their candle and looked into the auditorium, they realized there was a 4,000 watt light, a 4 kilowatt light that had resulted from that one single little candle. And you have the ability. If you focus on yourself, you are going to feel sorry from time to time. You're going to feel like nothing's happening because everything remains and seems the same. But when you take your focus off yourself and you begin to look outward, you will begin to see the impact that happens. Now, that is only going to happen when you have the diligence to consistently and continually do what you were born to do. And today may be the opportunity for you to make that decision, to be diligent, to follow through, to be a person of your word. I'd invite you to join the MAP Club, because in the MAP Club, we are mapped. We offer mentorship. You'll meet accountability partners. You will be in constant, never-ending preparation mode. And it's going to test and develop your diligence. And I think that is one of the most valuable things that you and I can participate in. We're going to have a short little break and come back and take a look at your comments and have a discussion. Henny and I are going to talk about the MAP Club. And I trust that after our discussion this evening, or while we're talking, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please pose them. If there's any comments that you have about the idea of a mentorship, accountability, preparation, and diligence, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I think this is a key element. And I've said to some of our associates and partners in the past that this is the heartbeat of MAP for Life. This is where it happens. And I'd invite you to be an active participant in the MAP Club. We'll see you after this short little break, and Henny and I are going to have a discussion and deal with your questions. Hey, good evening, Henny. I'm going to change the screen slightly tonight and make us look a little bit bigger, so that those who think we're all sitting in the dark can see that actually we are lit up and emitting light. It's interesting how the only reason we can see is because light reflects off us. So unless somebody can see the light, they cannot see that we exist. So by the mere fact that they see us tonight, they've seen the light. Thank you so much for joining, and I trust that you're going to just quickly. I see the people that are joining us right now, Rion and Del Marie. Great to have you joining us. And I see Rion is a friend of mine. He supports the Sharks. I remember that team. So Rion, I understand. I have no idea if they still play rugby or where they are right now, because I haven't watched rugby for some time, but they were certainly the team that I supported. Just to create a bit of atmosphere here in the home, Henny, so half the family supported the Blue Bulls and the other half supported the Sharks. So we had a really vibrant activity in our lounge in the days of television. Why don't you just greet the people this evening, and then we'll continue our chat.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Rian, I'm also in a dark place called Ruraport, but that's not stopping me. I haven't been around for 2 weeks right now, and like I was saying to Glenn, I really miss it. The diligence part starts talking to you. It feels like there's an empty hole in you if you don't get to it. I'm not sure how many, but it was probably good 15 or 20 Wednesdays that I made now. All of a sudden, I missed 2 of them. It's not nice, I must really say. I'm so glad to be here. I sent Clint a message this afternoon saying, I don't know if it's possible, but please can I be on the panel? I need to be here. I've got load shedding, but I'll make a plan. I need to be here. So yeah, glad to be here. Glad to read your comments and maybe provide some feedback if I can as well.
Yeah, Henny, I knew that you had joined me often. It's just amazing how time passes when you're having fun. And this is really a good place to be. And we've had so many good discussions here, and it kind of reflects to some extent the environment of the MAP Club itself. Because in the MAP Club, we have a discussion, we talk about some ideas, we share some insights, and sometimes we have different views on things. I know that you've been part of the MAP Club as well. I'm not too sure if you've been part of more than one, but you've had an experience in that environment, and I thought perhaps you could share some of your experiences, or maybe one or two, or something about that community that you're part of from your perspective.
Yes, I can. So I've joined the Map Cafe on a Thursday morning, 7 o'clock. Before I continue, welcome Quentin and welcome Ishmael. I'm seeing people are joining us right now. So yeah, I joined, and the funny thing for me was it starts feeling like a family. Like I was saying just now, just as much as this map talk is something that you miss if you don't attend it. I started. I missed two um, map cafes as well on a Thursday morning, and it sort of leaves an empty space, a place where you need to now try and fill it with something else. Um, I've only attended the one, and what is very interesting for me was we receive a gem in the week. We all get exactly the same gem, and there's sort of a pattern. There's almost like a quote on top, three paragraphs, and then a question at the end, and that's all we get. All of us get exactly the same thing. And one week I challenged myself to say, let's look at all 9 cafes and see what the people are saying. So I watched 9 sessions, well, 8 sessions. One of them I was part of, and the unbelievable thing is, so many people are seeing so many different things in exactly the same gym. And the gym is about leadership and one of the traits that you need as a leader that you follow through. So that's why it was sad for me to say I missed it. The good news is it's always recorded. You could always go back. You could always go and watch it, but it's not the same. It's not the same watching the movie. It's probably a lot more fun making the movie. So I really miss that, and you pick up on very interesting things. How people see things differently. It almost feels like Map for Life is giving me something by giving me a gem, but it feels like Map for Life is giving me so much more by allowing me to be in those sessions and to share with people to see
Yes.
their point of views. It just adds that small extra thing to say, I never thought of that. Um, and I was thinking about it. If I go to the zoo with my family and we get back in the car, everybody will tell you what they enjoyed most. I enjoyed the tigers as an example, and they enjoyed that. I remember the tigers the most because that's what I enjoyed and that's what I looked at. And then one of the kids would say, you know what, I really enjoyed looking at the lions as an example. Then I remember that I saw the lions.
Yeah.
I did see them, but it's not in the forefront. So it sort of just brings back all those things. And by just talking to the kids in the car after a trip like that, you just, the whole zoo comes to life again. And I get that same feeling when we do the map clubs, when I join the cafes in the morning. So many different great ideas, and one triggers the other. It feels like you just revitalizes every week, and it feels empty if you don't do it.
You know, Henny, as you're talking there, I'm just thinking, um, as you were sharing that, I mean, every single map cafe that I'm part of is completely different. It's not just that there's different people, but the different perspectives, the different energy, the different insights, the different discussion that is stimulated. And I was just thinking, going forward, I'm going to encourage people to be part of more than one map cafe. Um, just to experience that different those different perspectives, because if we're training for the game of life essentially, then I mean, how much time should we be practicing? Is it just once a week? Is it once a month? Is it once in a while? um, I think we could actually be part of, because I certainly find, for me, I get such value out of those sessions in the morning. Somebody might say, but how can you do 3 or 4 map cafes every day? I mean, are you missing something? No, I'm being inspired. That amount of time that I put in there energizes me to do more during the course of the day. And what's nice about the Map Club, for those of you who are listening in this evening or watching the recording, it's something that you can start anywhere, anytime. Um, it doesn't have to be online. In fact, the Map Club was never designed to be an online event. It became online when the technology advanced sufficiently, and it just happened to coincide with the great preparation. So, from 2020 onwards, we actually learned to connect online. But I also attend physical map cafes. And this morning at 9:30, I was meeting with a group of people here in Pretoria. And the one thing that we concluded is that when you have a physical, I know Del Marie, she attends a Wednesday morning one, and today, incidentally, Del Marie's Map Cafe, which is always in a cafe in Centurion area with Irene. For those of you who are familiar with Pretoria, South Africa, they meet at this particular place every Wednesday morning. But today and for the next 2 weeks, I think they're actually meeting online. So she's going to experience the online side. But the physical get together is so valuable because, like this morning, Peter was sharing some things and we talked. He said, the one thing that we miss or that we've realized that's been missing in the past few years is that physical touch. Just an arm on somebody's shoulder to say, hey, good to see you. Or a pat in the back, well done. It's those kinds of things that I think are really valuable. So if you are able to, and I know that Quentin is here, we need to get a physical map cafe happening in Cape Town. I mean, that'll be fantastic. Ishmael, Pretoria North. I mean, Rion's in a place, who most people don't even, or have never heard of Lydenburg. I can say, tongue in cheek, Rion's going to respond, I'm sure. But, even in Lydenburg, I know there's a little town close by called Dahlstrom, and they have Harry's pancakes. I mean, imagine going to have pancakes every week and meeting with a bunch of other people from the mining sector or from the farming area and just chatting about things and getting a new perspective. Because sometimes we're faced with really interesting decision-making moments in our life, and the Map Club is a place where you can get input that can help you to make better decisions, I think, because you can see it from multiple perspectives. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I agree.
I was looking for Rian's comment over there, but I see him and Ishmael having a great chat. Tobela Lokai, somebody said, to be low, you've got to look high. They said.
I think I agree. I mean, for me as well, just at the church as well, COVID or the Great Preparation started making people lazy. It was a lot easier to not go there and just lie on the couch and then watch the service. It just created that easy way out. But
Yes.
but I'm starting to pick up a pattern where people are really.
Well, don't worry about him. He's coming back. He's coming back.
I'm coming back, Sage.
Henny, I see you. You're really organized. I mean, you got a backup plan like nothing. You must be mad.
All right, let me quickly just. Okay, am I still visible? Yes, I'm plan B. I'm on my phone now. Okay, cool. What I was saying is, so people are almost hungry for that human touch again, just to talk to a human being. And in the IT world, AI is taking over now, and everybody's concerned to say, listen, will I still have a job? What's going to happen, etc., etc. So people are really wanting to not talk to robots anymore. They want to speak to people. They don't want to do the online thing. And I think the time is right for us right now. Even though we are still meeting online with the map cafes in the morning, it still really feels to me like it is in person. If you do it every week, you start to learn to know the people, and it becomes so much nicer. I've started a group on a Thursday, and that's why I'm not on the talks on a Thursday anymore. That we're still meeting in person. And you know what? It just brings another dimension to it. It's just so much almost authentic or real to actually greet somebody by hand to say, how's it? How are you doing? And to talk to them. the content, the message, the everything, the excitement and the energy is all there. It's just that small little extra there that just adds to it.
You know, Henny, I was just thinking of the when we engaging in these discussions at the MAP Cafe, it gets you to think more deeply about things, and I find that interaction with people, especially people who have a different worldview, or people who've grown up in a different environment to what I have, or in a different country, or in a different language. The discussion becomes so much richer as a result. You kind of have this, and it just helps you to understand that the world is a lot more colorful than what you perhaps expected. But it helps, more importantly, to be more purposeful in your walk. So the MAP Club is certainly something that we should all be a part of. I think of Ishmael. Ishmael's joining us this evening, and Henny, you met Ishmael because Ishmael actually videoed the MAPCon. Yes, Ishmael. He took photographs there. I'm looking forward to seeing the photographs that came out from that Ishmael did. But Ishmael attended the very first Train the Trainer program that I ever did in April 2007. And it was at that time that we decided the monthly fee or the annual fee that an associate should be paying. And it hasn't changed since 2007. Ishmael came to that training. And it's just such a joy to have somebody who has been around and part of Map for Life for so long and still enthusiastic about the future. And so, Ishmael, we're looking for great things. I can imagine MAP cafes in sand parks throughout South Africa, because that's his domain in which he operates. Rian just can't wait to be on screen. I can see he's even smiling in the background there. He's ready. He feels like he can, the power's back. So let's bring, I'm going to change our view over here and then bring Rian in. Good evening, Rian.
Good evening, Jen.
Maybe you want to sit next to us. Maybe you want to sit next to us like that. There we go.
I'll say.
Does that feel better?
Yeah, I'm
Yaku,
also on the
just
phone.
Rian. I just see Yaku. Goodness me, nice to see you, Yaku Jube. Lovely to have you joining us, and maybe you should just tell the world where you're from so that they also can see. Lovely to have you joining us. Sorry, Rian. Welcome.
No problem. What's the question? Do you want me to tell the people where I'm coming from?
Just tell us what's happening in Leidenburg, and maybe I know that you are new to Map for Life. You've participated in some of our evening sessions like we are doing tonight, but you're not part of a MAP club. But despite the fact that you're not part of a MAP club yet, okay, I'm going to say yet because I know that you're starting one in July. Despite the fact that you're not part of one right now, you've been involved in mentorship and coaching and leadership for many years in the community and through the church and so on. Why don't you just share some of your experiences from that?
No, I think Henk, what Henny also, Glenn, what Henny touched on as well is very important. People are looking for a physical touch again, and I think from the mentorship side, what you said really makes sense. And the nice thing about all the mentorships I went through, even I was supposed to be the mentor and someone else the mentee, is you learn so much from each other. And what I realized as well, I'm reading a few books now because I'm also starting up my company. And it's a very interesting and tough journey. Like I think most of the people maybe will know. I know the two of you will know that. But what I realized, and Maxwell
I don't
says
think
a
it's
lot,
tough. I don't think it's tough. I think it's just a journey.
It's a journey.
An exciting journey.
You just need to be prepared. That's all. But Maxwell says that you must never fall in love with your ideas. You must always put your creativity, your ideas out there to be tested. And what I found is really every time I've got the guts to go and share with other people. Some I know very well, some I don't know that well. And you put your stuff out there, and that's what the MAP clubs are for. I remember I joined Jaap Nel and his Business Map for Life Club a few weeks ago. And, the guys are just bringing their business ideas and saying, this is my struggle. Can you help me? And between all the new and the old guys, it's just wonderful to see and to hear how the guys inspire each other, how they've got, they really, what we call in Afrikaans, inspraak, they talk into each other's life. And that's the beauty of it. And that's what you need, So I've been walking the road now with a few very small companies here in Lydenburg with the owners, and I see the need. Jaap Nel used to say, you're not alone. And that's what the Map for Life clubs is so nice for, You see that you are not alone. You are not alone on the journey. You sometimes, as you also indicate tonight, you feel like though you are in this thing alone. No one understands. No one knows what you're going through. And, to be quite honest, no one cares. And that's just not true. And what I love about the ideas about the Map for Life clubs and the Business Map for Life club that Jaap and his associates started is the fact that you're not alone. You can go and you can pitch to someone else that you are not. In actual fact, we're all in this thing together. We can learn from each other, whether I've been in it for 1 month or whether I've been within it for 30 years. There's a guy like Paul sitting there full of wisdom, and then there's youngsters that's not even properly out of school yet, and I learn from everybody around the table. And that's the beauty of it, and like I said, with the mentorship, it's always a two-way street. You're never too old to learn. And that's what I'm looking forward. Definitely to the club we're going to start here for the business people is to just have the small people. And we don't have a board sitting with us. We don't have shareholders sitting with us. A lot of time you're an entrepreneur, you're on your own. You need someone to go and test your thinking with, to go and pitch your ideas with, and that's to become better. And we're better than a life club.
That's such an important point that you've raised there. Is that Map for Life, the actual club, can be exactly that. It can be the boardroom. It can be your board, and it can be seen as that. And what you've also highlighted is that the MAP club can have a focus. So, for example, you've used business can be the focus. There might be another special interest group of some kind. I'm just thinking the runners, those crazy guys that run cross country. I don't know if you know any one of those. They run over the mountains and so on. There might be those kind of people. You could actually have a MAP club that's part of that. You get together in the morning, and maybe even while you're jogging, you talk about the topic of the day. And I think this is very, very valuable. Before we continue, I just want to welcome Nancy from, I met Nancy and Nancy, you can correct me, but I believe it was in July 2019. I met Nancy in Lusaka, Zambia. I mean, Nancy is just an incredible person. And she's been through our mastery program. Nancy, we're looking to have an abundance of MAP clubs running in Lusaka and even beyond. So lovely to have you joining us this evening. Thank you for tuning in, and please share your comments. We'd love to hear that. By the way, she's actually in one of our books. We've got a book that we published, and Nancy's dream and story is inside that book. So Nancy, welcome. Good to have you here. Henny, I don't know if you have any comments or things that you'd like to share on based on what Rian was just talking about right now.
Yeah, I think I can add to what he said. So like I said, I made the decision to say Map for Life is a lifestyle, and it really is. And whatever life you decide to take, you still have your passion, your things that you are passionate about, that you want to do. And you refer to the running. I used to be a road runner. I will really want to get back to it as well. But the nice thing is, a Map Cafe is, for me, is almost like that get together where you share your passions, which in 99% of the cases actually overlaps. And I don't have to be a genius. I don't have to be anything without me knowing it, and just sharing how I experienced something that I read. I am actually mentoring other people that sits there as well. The small little things that I say might feel insignificant to me, but might make the biggest difference to somebody on the other side that is really struggling. He just picks up on a word or anything you said that all of a sudden makes that big difference. And I think for me, that's the key thing. It's a matter of giving back for the greater good in those sessions. And it doesn't have to be boring or formal. It's really very, very informal, where people that's got the same passions as you, people that are on the same journey as you, just get enough energy until the next session that they've got. So if you ever feel you're running out of steam, you just need to join one of these cafes, because it will really fill you up.
Yeah, I was just reminded as you were talking about a story that I heard about King Odysseus. I think it was from the Greek myths, or in that vicinity. Somebody might be able to help me. But King Odysseus was on his way to battle, and he left. He had a newborn son. I think he was 1 year old or whatever, and he was heading out to battle. And of course, back in those days, it was a long journey. When I say long journey, when you went to battle, you were going to be gone for quite some time. So what he did was he entrusted his son to his best friend. And the commission to his best friend was to raise his son as if he was King Odysseus himself. And the name of his good friend was Mentor. And so the word mentorship is coming from that particular aspect, and it's really about pouring into somebody something of value. And what I find with a MAP club, the sessions that you're part of are extremely valuable when you've actually participated, when you've shared. It's not about coming to listen, it's actually about to share your ideas and thoughts. And when you do, when you give something to the group, you actually get so much more out. And so it's a wonderful way, in a, as you say, a nice relaxed atmosphere where you feel like you, Rian, it's almost like sitting around a campfire, you know? It's like sitting around a campfire and just having a chat. And through that process, so much learning takes place.
Yes. I think you can even, every once in a while, just to change things up, you can go and sit around the campfire in the evening and sit and do your map club there, just to spin it up. But it's really, it's really important. And what I also like what you said previously, the P for the preparation. What better place in a map club that creates a safe space for you to go and prepare and test yourself and your knowledge and how correct you are. The other thing that's interesting that I'm always challenged with is you always want to surround yourself with similar people. But I like the idea of visiting other map clubs, because you need to be challenged in your thinking. You need to sometimes force yourself to go and spend time with people that is thinking differently to you, and that's not the same. Because if you just keep on mixing with the same sort, then you will always get the same results, and people will not debate that much, and they will not be able to push your paradigms. The only way for you to push your paradigms is to go and force yourself to go and sometimes sit with people that are different to you. And that can be also a safe space if you do it within the Map for Life, because at least the base philosophy and the foundation is the same, but the way that the people think and operate are totally different. And that will actually be very nice to be able to go and sit in a club that's for business, and sometimes you go and sit in a club that's for training, maybe sometimes in a club for ladies that house engineers and whatever, but to really go and test yourself. Even if there's youth clubs, I see that coming. I believe, Glenn, at a stage with Joshua also coming into the mix now, that we will start seeing the youth going into Map for Life clubs. And then for the old toppies like you and Henny, I'm very young, luckily, but the old toppies like you two can then go and
listen from the young people.
The old toppies like you can go and listen to the young ones and what's important for them. So I think it's very important to also, number one, the preparation safe space, but number two, to go and challenge yourself, to get outside your comfort zone and go and get someone to challenge you a little bit in your thinking, in your paradigm.
Rian, you just you met Joshua when we came to Leidenburg.
Yes.
And you also met his friend Konrad.
Yeah.
From Graskop.
Yes.
I think the town is Graskop. And Nancy, that's like a tiny little village outside of Lusaka. Okay, Graskop is a very small little place. If you blink your eyes, you pass through it. But they actually have, every Tuesday morning, they have their Map Cafe, and he's got a bunch of young guys in their 20s, and they're having serious discussions, and it's really exciting to see that. And so we are going to have all these generations. And I was just thinking about this book over here. I trust that you can see it, Map for Parenting. So there's room for a group of young parents to actually get together, or young mothers, young fathers, just to share some of their own experiences and to learn from one another. I think there's great value. I learned something in one of my sessions earlier in the last 7 days. I'm not too sure precisely where it was, but it was revelational for me, and I thought I would just share it with you. When we have a vision that is God-inspired, it's always going to be beyond your ability. So the first thing that you're going to think is, it's too big, I can't do it. That's a common thing when you've had some kind of inspiration of that nature. But my thinking was aligned with the trees, and I've shared the story about the trees that I've planted during the great preparation, and they're casting a bit of shade already, although the shade's only about 1 meter long, but they're casting some shade in our environment. But I was just thinking about the tree. It has a mandate. You know what the tree's mandate is, Rian, Henny? It's to vegetate the planet. And you know how this tree does it? It puts its roots down and it stands in a single spot. It stands in one place. It doesn't move. It stands there. It just stands firm. And what it does is it says, you know what, I'm gonna be fruitful right where I am. I'm gonna produce seed. Firstly, I'm gonna put flowers out there so that the bees come along. I don't know if it thinks like this, but it puts the flowers out. The bees come along, they pollinate the flower, the fruit is formed, the seed drops, the animals pick it up, the wind blows it. I don't know what happens, but stuff happens. And that tree, standing rock solid with its roots buried in the soil, begins to vegetate the planet. It doesn't concern itself with how it's going to do it. It just does what it was born to do. And for me, that was such an aha moment, which came as a result of these kinds of discussions, to say, my goodness me, if a tree can vegetate the planet by standing just where it is, how much more can you and I do? But even if we can't move around, if we just stay where we are and we stand firm, we have a solid foundation, we don't waver, we don't blow this way and that way, we change our mind like we change our underwear, we stand firm. If we like that, I think we can have an impact beyond our imagination. Beyond our imagination.
Yeah. I think that's what Map for Life is all about, being significant. I think what you mentioned for me is really almost a definition of significance, to say, just be there, make that difference to people around you by just being there every week, being there every week to add your 5 cents. Like you said, the more you add, the more you're going to get. So, sounds like a cliche, but it's almost like the cafes are the gift that keep on giving, kind of thing. You just get more and more and more every time you go there.
There's a common thing that I hear from people, and that's this, Rian, is when after the Map Cafe, you know what they say this? They say, it's just what I needed this morning. It's just what I needed this morning. It's like for those people who drink coffee, it's like, you know, it's like that first cup of coffee in the morning. It just gives you that kickstart, and that's such a regular comment that people make, is that I just needed to hear that this morning, or that gem was written for me, you know. And it's amazing how it's like the right thing comes at the right time. And maybe for those of you listening, maybe this is your call to actually engage and to be part of the move forward. Rian, give us some of your wisdom from all of the mentoring that you've been doing.
No,
we want to listen. We want to learn from the youngsters.
I say that's good. I was actually thinking about your story about the candle, because I've been reading some books of a guy in South Africa, Daniel Strauss, to also change my thinking. But what he says is, think about this. He put it in another way, but it's the same example as the lights. Is there's a little plant in a big dam. You can barely see it. Every morning, that plant created another one. So after a few months, half of the dam is filled with these little plants. How long is it going to take to fill up the whole dam? And the answer is tomorrow, the next day, everything will be filled up because of multiplication. And I think we are getting stuck in growth so much. We must really start believing in multiplying. And I think a tree is actually a good measure. They don't do a lot. They stand still. They bring their seed, but they don't grow. They multiply, because you have one tree, and in a few years you've got 2 and 3 and 4. But suddenly you sit with the forest, and the forest is also like every tree just created the one next to it, just gave one seed out, but it keeps on giving that seed out every day, and then you start getting the forest. And I think that's a thing. That the Map for Life clubs is, we just get one person in, and just get that person to get another one in, and you know, the growth is small, the multiplication is small, but suddenly your one club become 4 clubs, become 5 clubs, and we start having influence, and we start influencing our areas, our countries where we're staying. We really start mapping the world that your vision is. But never forget, it always starts with just one seed. But every day, honestly, go back and sow your seed every day. Even if it's just one, just get your one seed in the ground, because God will do the growth. You don't need to look after the growth. All that the Bible says is plant the seed. God will make sure it grows at the right time.
I like that so much, you know. And what's fascinating about that tree is that it spits out, you know. I walk around my neighborhood here, and they produce thousands of seeds every single season. When I say every season, every seed-bearing season, they produce thousands. They don't worry about how many of those seeds actually germinate to produce a tree. They just spit out the seed. And I think sometimes when we are engaging in our own dream and pursuing it, we sow a few seeds here and there, and then we sit back and we wonder, you know, nothing's happening because we only sowed a few seeds. If we listen, or if we learn from just nature around us, we can see there's this abundance mentality. You don't just sow one seed, you sow thousands, and you do it every year and every year and every year, and in the hope that one of those seeds is going to produce another tree, which will lead to that forest. I love that idea. It's almost like, you know, Dr. Anton Schiepers, who's in Tampa, Florida at the moment, busy. He's doing something called the Apprentice Doctor. And he started that in about 2006. It was one of those Map for Life projects. You know, he went through Map for Life, started putting his ideas together, formulating it. Now it's growing. I think he's seeing something like 145 students that want to become doctors in Tampa, Florida, and New York, and so on. Just amazing how that's grown. But he talked about this, what you've explained, Rian. He used the term controlled explosion. And I thought that is an incredibly powerful way of, it's like when you have those, what is that called when they take photographs of something over a period, time lapse videos. So you can see the seed germinate in the flower form and so quickly. If we speed up the seed that we have sown, we will be absolutely amazed at the rate at which things are growing. But because of the way it grows, it's not the quick overnight success that we all desperately want. But if we just remain diligent and committed and keep sowing every day, we're going to see an incredible harvest. Henny, I see our time is almost done, so maybe you've got a last word then, Rian, for you, and we will. It's just so nice to see all the comments coming in this evening. And Ishmael is your friend, Rian. You greeted him in the right way. Is that right, Ishmael? So he said, Rian's my buddy. Henny, sorry, I'm talking too much.
No problem. I think what I want to close with is something you did mention, being prepared for opportunities. I've got the routine where I read the gem every morning. So when I get to a Thursday, I've read it 4 times already. And every morning, your mood or your mindset is a little bit different. And it speaks to you in a different way. So I'm almost saying the gems and the map cafes are really, like we've discussed right now, the seeds. You need to take those seeds, put them in the ground and let them grow. Take what you're getting out of those sessions, what you're getting out of the gems, go make something with it. Get more people to do it and let us grow. The more people we get to share our passions with, the more people we get to see what their vision are, what their purpose are, I think the easier life will become. And I've also now got light.
Wonderful.
This was an enlightening message I brought now. Wow. Yeah, so that's it for me. You're getting a lot with the gems. You're getting a lot out of the map cafes, but you will also be giving something. Just be yourself. Go and share a little bit of yourself in those sessions, and you won't believe how much you will grow.
I just, as you were talking there, Rian, I'm going to give you a chance to end this evening. And I see Passmore joining us. And Passmore is actually also from Zambia, incidentally. And I hope I'm right in that, Passmore. But he attends the Map Cafe, the Map Club in London. So it's just interesting how we're connecting different people across continents. And I trust that you're really enjoying your engagement with Heather, and even I say Heather. There's also Mike or Mick from Ireland, who's part of that group, and a bunch of others, which is really fantastic. So nice to see that mix happening. Rian?
No. I can only say let's get excited about going on with the clubs, growing Map for Life. Growing ourselves, let's take the mandate that's been given and let's run with it. It can only get exciting. We get to help ourselves. We get to help other people. And just tongue in cheek, I think I would like Bucks there in PE to also start Map for Life for the pensioners there as well.
I can hear him saying, hey, I'm still an active participant. But yeah, Rian, maybe you're going to be the guy to start the business club online. That'll be fantastic. I'm sure there's many people young entrepreneurs throughout Map for Life. I mean, after all, Map for Life, the tool, gets people to identify their ideas and dreams, and many of those lead to starting something new. So that'll be great. I'd love to invite all of those who've participated this evening to join us. We'd love to have you join us. So Nancy, when you next week Wednesday, if you are available, please let me know. I'd love to have you to join us in the session. And that's, I'm not singling Nancy out, Ishmael, so you're also welcome. All of you who've participated tonight are so welcome. I want to say thank you so much, Henny and Rian, for being willing to join me. And I know that through you, the world is going to be different. So have a wonderful evening further. Thanks again for your commitment, your diligence, and all those things we talked about: mentorship, accountability, preparation, diligence. That's us. And tonight has demonstrated that. So thank you so much. And I'm going to end with a short little video. I'm sure you guys want to say goodbye as well. Supper's calling, as they say. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Muy buenos días a todos. I am Miguel Sanz from Madrid, Spain. I started using Map for Life back in 2016, where this picture here, where I am with Glenn, belong to that year in the training I did in Pretoria. And you know, there are many talks, many talks out there in internet, in real life, where great speakers tells you that you are unique, that you need to find your purpose, what you need to do in life. You end up out of those talks really happy, but naked, because you have no tools. What's Map for Life? Map for Life gives you the tools to achieve your goals, to be precise, to do all the things you need to do to achieve them. You are unique. Be Map.